Welcome to the Rig and Farm YouTube channel. In this video, we'll show you what we're doing with this soil we got delivered, the flowers we planted in the garden, and the work we've done so far with our chicken fence. Ashley has officially left her old job, so now she's 100% focused on the farm. We'll be able to get so much more done with both of us having the time to work on all of our projects. In other exciting news, we just reached 1,000 subscribers. Obviously, we're very excited about that. It may not seem like a big deal, but the cup holder on the new MX5400 is way better than on our old tractor. My cup fits perfectly and doesn't spill like it did on the LX2610. Having this tractor helps us save so much time. We needed to bring some T-posts up to the garden to work on a project, and loading up the bucket was way easier than making several trips uphill while carrying these 12 posts that weigh about 10 pounds each. Would you look at that? The weed fabric lifted again. We grabbed several more landscape staples to secure it better this time. Time to get these T-posts in the ground. I'm only 6 feet tall, so we used a ladder. Pounding in 8-foot tall T-posts would be impossible otherwise. We'll be adding some vertical netting to these posts to make a trellis for our sweet pea flowers. More on that later. We were done with the ladder, so Ashley used the tractor to take it back to her shipping container. While we had the tractor running, we used it to haul some plants we had started indoors. These are Ranunculus, and these are sweet peas. 6 trays comfortably fit in the 6-foot bucket. They all survived the trip. Vertical netting was held onto the T-posts with zip ties and baling twine. While I worked on that, Ashley was raking one of the beds to make the soil nice and even. We added horizontal netting to this garden bed we talked about in our last vlog. I went through the whole bed and made holes in the center of each square with a hori-hori knife. The netting makes a grid that evenly spaces out each plant. It's very convenient. Ashley is planting the pre-sprouted ranunculus. We had over 600 that went into the ground. We'll get red, orange, pink, and purple blooms in this bed. The netting isn't just for spacing the flowers. It'll actually allow them to grow more straight rather than bending or curving. We'll raise the netting a little at a time as the plants grow, so they'll never get the chance to sag. For the sweet peas, we dug a trench along the vertical netting and spaced the plants about 6 to 8 inches apart. They are a vining plant, so we helped them by placing the tendrils on the net. After I placed them in the trench, Ashley came behind me and filled in the dirt. We planted about 100 of these. Each one will produce 10 to 20 stems, and each of those can have as many as 10 blooms. That means we could have 2,000 flowers just from this row. Next week we'll be planting more on the other side of the netting. Our irrigation system is still working well, but this bed floods in areas because we didn't rake it to level it out before planting the seeds. This bed next to it was raked, and it's much more effective. That's another lesson learned on Rig and Farm. The bed with the sweet peas now gets water when we turn on the system. It's a little hard to tell here, but the plants are definitely experiencing a little transplant shock. 3 days later, they were looking much better. Make sure you subscribe if you don't already to see how they continue to grow and produce beautiful flowers. If you go to our website, click on the shop and you'll see that we're selling soap now. Only 4 of the varieties are currently available, but we'll have 5 more in about a week or 2. Use the coupon code SOAP5 for 4 to get a free bar when you buy 4 at the regular price. We're going to be planting several types of potatoes soon, but first we had to get rid of this large pile of debris where we wanted to put them. The hydraulic coupler on the grapple wasn't working, so we put the pallet forks on to lift out any stumps or other large pieces. When I got into the pile, I noticed it was mostly dirt, but I still got a small pile lifted out and made my way down to our large debris pile that we started when we had rented the skid steer and mini excavator. I tried to get another scoop, but the debris was too small. I went back down to swap the forks for the bucket. I thought it would be a good idea to scoop out this small pile and bring it down to the bigger pile. But then I realized I should stop moving dirt to a burn pile and just move it around to where we're going to be putting the potato plants. Enough tractor footage for now. Let's take a look at these new additions on the farm. Zelda had some more baby bunnies. Here's the mama. She made a nest with her fur, and you can see the bald spot on her front leg where she ripped it out. We ordered 15 cubic yards of organic potting soil to put in our raised garden beds and planters. A few years ago, we ordered 5 cubic yards for the same raised beds when we were at our old house. We used a shovel and wheelbarrow to move it just a few feet from the drop site into the beds. It took about 2 hours, and we didn't even fill the beds all the way. The tractor should make this job a little easier, even if we are bringing it several hundred feet away from the drop site. Ashley used a rake to spread out the soil as I made trips back and forth with the tractor. We got them completely filled in about 15 minutes. You can probably see the sky was a little overcast, and this is what happened soon afterwards. A few hours later, when the rain let up, we had chickens and ducks all over the place. The rain carried some mud and debris that knocked over the poultry fence. It was a sign that we needed to work on our more robust chicken fence. We used a 10-foot T-post and 4 5-foot T-posts as the 4 corners of our perimeter. This corner brace kit prevents the 10-foot posts from bowing inward when the fence is tensioned. We learned that the hard way with our garden fence, that this step is crucial and should not be skipped. It took us about half an hour to do the 4 corners. We also put in a 5th 10-foot post next to the ladder that will allow the fencing to jut out just a little towards the tree line. Once the corners and 5th post were set, we tied some baling twine around the gate and went around the perimeter to establish a straight line to use as a guide when installing the remaining T-posts. We measured the distance between posts to get even spacing when installing the additional posts. This spot measured about 82 feet, so we marked 4 spots about 16.5 feet apart along the twine. Ashley would put the post where we marked the ground as I would climb up the ladder with an 18.5 pound post pounder. By the way, I'm really afraid of heights. This is not my favorite thing by any means, but it had to be done. Let's take a look to see how we did. Here's the next section. Now we'll show you a time lapse of the next portion of T-posts. We used a total of 26 10-foot posts and 16 5-foot posts for the corner braces. The twine was never cut, so we untied it and can use it for something else later. We moved the doghouse into the soon-to-be fenced area. Our dog does really well with the chickens, so she'll stay in the fence with them and guard them at all times, and have some space to run around. Next, it was time to start installing the field fence. We used these staple nails to attach the end to the 4x4 gate post. We went a little over 100 feet and had to stop for the day. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you don't already to see how we finish up this fence. We really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time!